Dog and I have actually been apart since August in '08, but it's almost like you can flick a switch and start the show
amazing.
again.
It really is
It's
amazing.
funny.
And by the way, Federer's about to lose here. You watching?
Oh, I am. I'm riveted. You know, when are you taking the show to Wimbledon?
He's in trouble in this fourth set. No, but we had those three things: the '96 Yankees, the '94 Rangers, and with the Knicks. And you made a good point. I had forgotten about the '90 Giants. That deserves to be there too. And that Joanne Farkas thing was very. People don't realize
it was
that
dog date afternoon was hilarious, and it really was funny. It was, and you know, watching this as honestly, and you know, I'm sure when you think about it today and you see all the stuff, and listen, you know, all this when you see all the pictures and you see all the stories, you know, it always shows Mike and the Mad Dog and Imus, and obviously. You know, the many other people who were a very big part of what's happened here over 25 years. But, you know, when you think about it and think about your role in this, you know, you deserve a tremendous amount of credit. I mean, you were an enormous part of this station's success, and that will never, ever change. And, you know, this is always home to you. It always will be.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I really do. I think I thought Imus coming here in '80. I wasn't there yet. But I think Imus getting that. Federer, by the way, is in a tiebreak. I think
that's all talk cares about.
I think Imus getting there. You probably have addressed it today. I didn't.
No, Don's coming up at 5.
Which is, I think him getting there in '88 was huge in October, and I think the switch over to 660 too.
Yes.
I know Joe Hollander mentioned that. I think from a station perspective, you were there before me, so I wasn't there yet. But I thought those two things.
No question.
Imus in October of '88, and listen, give Boomer and Carton a lot of credit. I know you're on there today. They've done a tremendous job.
They've done a terrific job.
I'm not trying to downplay anybody, but I mean,
no, they've done a terrific job and had big shoes to fill. They've done a wonderful job in doing that. But you know, the thing was the turn right in the beginning from changing the station to 660, inheriting Don there, and then having Mike and the Mad Dog take off. And as you and I know, and what really I think helped enormously, Dog, was, you know, that first 2 or 3 months, and we talked about Dog Date making a big difference, it did. But when you and I weren't dumb, when we saw by the spring that we were number one, we realized that we were onto something big. And, I mean, all of a sudden, you know, our lives changed dramatically that first year. I mean, you remember what it was like. I mean, you and I went through a time where, you know, it was amazing. I mean, it was crazy how big things got so fast.
Well, you got to remember one thing, too. Both of us wanted to do solo shows.
Yep.
And so we all thought I could do it, Mike can do it. And so until you saw the success with a duet show, you always had that doubt in your mind, you know, I can do it better without him, he can do it better without me. You always had that little doubt in your mind. And I think you're right. I think the first time the fans sort of acknowledged the fact that they liked what they were hearing, it gave us, you know what, we're making money, let's not moan and groan about this. Let's make it as good as we possibly can. But you got to have the teams, too. You know that. You got to have the teams be successful. And you and I know with the ratings, when the teams are good in your town doing these shows, it's going to help the local sports talk. And we were fortunate. We had the great Yankees in '96. The Mets were pretty decent when we first started. We had the Giants, you know, obviously won a Super Bowl. And then the Rangers won a Stanley Cup, and Raleigh came with the Knicks.
Yeah.
So you put all that together, you had a large the New York sports scene in that period with you and I right in the middle of it was a huge factor in our growth.
It did, and we caught it at the right time. I mean, there was so much growth at that time. And listen, I mean, the sports keep growing. I mean, look at all the syndication, look at all the other networks, look at Sirius, look at everything out there. There's so much there that wasn't there when you and I started. I mean, we pretty much had the first 10 years to ourselves. I mean, it was you know, pretty much you and me. That was it. I mean,
no competition.
Yeah, none. I mean, it was just you. We had everything to ourselves. You know, it was just you and me. That was it. I mean, we did whatever we wanted, and we had everything.
FAN became the place to go because you had all the games on.
Absolutely, and you know, and we were it. I mean, you remember? I tell people this. I think they think I'm crazy. We went to Super Bowls when Dog and I were the only ones there.
Nobody there.
They were the only ones there.
Eddie Edelman may have gone to one of those.
Maybe.
Didn't Eddie Edelman go too?
I think the first year was just that guy behind us who was in New Orleans. Remember that one guy who was just in New Orleans?
I do, and that was when Bradshaw came on that first year and killed Elway.
Yes.
You remember that? He came on our show. He killed Elway, and I always say today I always tell that story because that's the time that Madden took you and me to his hotel.
Right.
To show us how in the world San Francisco could not possibly lose this game.
Remember Holmgren? They couldn't lose. It's
impossible. And at 55-10, he was showing Louis Wright can't guard him. Here's Rice. Here's Taylor. He's going to go boom, bam, bam. There's no way they could win this game. And it turned out to be. So we were fortunate that we were the first one, and we had all the good guests. I mean, Riley used to.
Who was your favorite guest?
I'll tell you, I was just thinking about it, and I have not had him on. I tried to get him on this week. He won't do it. I think Riley in a lot of ways.
Riley has never forgiven us. You know, I told you that story that I was out vacationing with Roe in California.
Right, in California.
And I sat with him, and he told me how hurt he was that you and I didn't stick by him when he
was wrong.
I know. Well, we told him that, but he said he couldn't get past it. He even told me that day at the pool he couldn't get past it.
Yeah,
and that was 4 years later.
I think Riley was good to us.
And George Young, too.
George
Young was a great spot.
Yeah,
he was a fun spot. I always think of George again. Someone asked me the other day, who was the one guy we always wanted and couldn't get? And even I got asked that this morning by Carton when I was on with those guys. DiMaggio, I always thought was the guy we tried the hardest to get, which we never could get. We could not get him to the air.
No, Mantle we got Mantle a couple of times.
Mantle, we got Ted Williams. We just never got Joe D.
Yeah, and Richard, you made a good point about Richard Neer. He has been underrated his whole career.
He has. He's been a guy who's been a real cog the whole time.
He doesn't get enough credit. But you're right. DiMaggio's the guy that we didn't get on that we would have liked. But Riley came on every game.
He did. Game sevens. I think that's why he felt that we betrayed him. And I said, Pat, what were we supposed to do? You were wrong. But, he felt that he had been good, and he had been great to us.
He felt we owed him loyalty instead of honesty.
He did, and he's never gotten over it. So I agree with you. And we did have I can remember you and I sitting courtside with Pat in the day of a Game 7 and him doing 45 minutes with us.
Unbelievable. I mean, I can also remember a day opening night when I had gotten on Dick Stockton about something. You remember that? It was Nick Bucks.
Yes.
And lo and behold, Cirillo gives me a seat right next to Dick Stockton and Leslie Visser. And Leslie Visser says, the whole world says, I got to sit next to this clown for the next 2 hours? Remember that? Oh, God. But Riley used to sit with us all the time. I wasn't there the year they beat the Pacers in Game 7. I was out with the Rangers.
Yeah, we were.
That one game. You had Riley on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, Ewing at the table, the whole thing. Absolutely true.
We had so much. I mean, again, we had so much fun doing these shows.
It's an amazing time when you think about it. 19 years. So you know what? It would not be, and everyone just was waiting to see what time you'd come on. So,
but I appreciate it, Mike. I mean,
and I'll tell you this. I'm going to tell you right now. If the Giants and the Yankees make the World Series, we're going to do. You could tell your people, and I'll tell the folks here. We'll do the Yankee Giants. We have to team up and do a show together.
How about Matt Cain? A perfect game.
Where did you see it?
I went to bed in the 5th inning of that game.
Hey, what the heck? What the heck are you guys feeding Melky Cabrera?
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
You couldn't stand Melky Cabrera.
I hated him. I'll tell you this too. And I said this the other day after he beat LA. If Tim Lincecum pitches like he can pitch, the Giants are going to go to the World Series.
I think we have a great chance for you. I've always wanted a Giant-Yankee World Series.
We never had one.
No, that's what we need.
Well, Mikey, great for having me.
Listen, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Tell Timmy, tell the family I said hello, and tell everybody, tell Tony I said hello. And
Jeannie says hello. Colin, Timmy, and
good.
Kira, and Patrick say hello. Those Jack, Emily, and Harrison, how they all doing? Good?
Everybody's good. We'll talk soon. And again, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes. Appreciate it.
All right, keep in touch.
All right, that's the dog. We'll be back after this.